How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is RuffledRowlit, and I still have some water, man. And I dropped the cork again. This happened last time I recorded as well. But either way, we got some water, ladies and gentlemen. We've got some shit to do. We got some content to make. We got some content to talk about. You know how it is. You know how I do. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we have a rumor today, and this rumor is a pretty chunky one. It's, I think actually a bit chunky is a little bit of an understatement. It's huge, okay? It's huge, and it goes into modes in Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. You know, how the modes will work in that game, which makes me quite intrigued, because honestly, you know, I'm excited to see how these games are going to pull things off. So, I don't know, man. I'm excited to see how this is going to work, like, how, you know, this rumor is going to pan out, because honestly, this is going to be one of the most interesting rumors we've ever had. It's a pretty long one. It goes through how the veteran mode in the game would work, how the beginner mode would work, that sort of stuff, breaks it down. And as you guys know, I'm an advocate towards having, you know, difficulty settings for Pokemon games, because I feel like, you know, if you're playing through the game and you know the introductory stuff, like, oh, you know, this is how you know, this is what typings are and that sort of stuff, right? I don't feel like there's any reason to have to retell that to an audience that already knows it. But then again, of course, there's always new audiences joining the Pokemon community, always new players coming in, new kids being born and getting, you know, into the Pokemon franchise. So that causes a kind of rift where they have to have that sort of introductory stuff to teach people about these things, while on the other hand, you know, sometimes it can be a bit annoying for us who do know most of these things and don't need to be told a million times how we catch a Pokemon, right? You know, because it's catching tutorials in essentially every single Pokemon game, you could kind of say, every mainline game. It's either a catching tutorial, and it gets a little bit boring when you have to like look at it all the time. You're like, oh, this is how you catch a Pokemon, or if it isn't like this is how you catch a Pokemon, then it's like, oh, if you know, everything's just, it's very streamlined, right? So if they had a difficulty setting for us in these games, Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, I think that would work the best for everybody's benefit. The beginner players would be able to learn a little bit better, like try to learn, you know, how to play these things out and how to, like, you know, deal with them, because I think that's good. It's always good to have beginner levels, because I, as a younger, you know, kid, when I started playing Pokemon, when I got Pokemon Ruby as a kid, and also like Pokemon Gold from my friend that I borrowed, the thing with that was that I never really, like, you know, had an easy time playing through Pokemon like most of you guys out there who are from either the UK, US, you know, Australia, you know, or just who knew English as kids. You know, if you were young and you knew English and you know you were a kid, then you were at the advantage, right? Or if you were from a country that had the games in your language, like I know Spanish people, I think, had the games in their language, and Portuguese people, I think. I could be wrong about that. I think that may be a recent development, but over the course of time, you know, there's been so many countries that have had the language, you know, the games in their languages. For me and every other, like, Bosnian person and every other person from, you know, even Sweden, we didn't have that, you know, we didn't have that advantage. We had to basically learn while we played along. We had to guess our way through the games. And that's how I started learning English actually. I started learning English through trying to figure out what the game was telling me, because I didn't know what the word fight meant. I didn't know what the word back meant, or, you know, bag and, like, also run. I didn't know what these meant, but I kind of learned as I, you know, went along. I learned slowly, and I started to understand what these words meant, what they were, and basically that way I could understand and play the game. But just imagine me trying to, run through Pokemon Ruby not knowing anything of what's being said. You know, that was a little bit difficult. So having a beginner mode to teach me how to do certain things, like this is how you fight, this is how you catch a Pokemon, especially with some, you know, the newer generation of kids, that's actually a good thing to have there. So I definitely want to bring that up and mention it, because it's a very important factor you gotta remember, is that there are new audiences joining Pokemon every day, and audiences leaving Pokemon. So, you know, and there's audiences that are older, younger. It's, you gotta cater to all of them. So that's just how it is. But here's the actual stuff that we're going to look at today, though, ladies and gentlemen, is this rumor right here. It was sent to me by Sheely, so thank you to Sheely once again. Sheely's a legend. But yeah, so here's where we start, though. When making a new save file, the game asks you if this is your first adventure, and prompts you two options. Beginner mode, alright. The actual post here is called Gen 8 comes with beginner and veteran modes, from Anonymous. Now, also cool art there on the side. I really like it. It's like the trainers for this region. They look really sick. I'm not sure who the artwork's from. I will make sure to find it, though, and actually link it down below if you guys want to check it out. Beginner mode, though, for those who are enjoying Pokemon for the first time and want to familiarize themselves with Galar. See, this is where I would play the beginner mode. You might be like, well, you always complain about there not being a veteran mode, so why would you play the beginner mode? Because if I'm playing through the game on stream which I'm going to be doing, and I want to play through just the region to just see how it is, because you gotta remember, I'm playing this from a YouTuber perspective. If I'm playing through the region and I just want to explore it, more than just like think about like how I can run through it quickly and all that sort of stuff. If I want to explore it, I will be playing most likely with the beginner mode, but if I want to just kind of run through it quickly and all that, you know, I might play it in the harder mode, because then I'll focus more on my strategy and all that sort of stuff. But we'll see. But yeah, I do like that though. Beginner mode is for you to familiarize yourself with the Galar region, learn how it's like, and all that. And then if you're doing a replay of the game, you can play in the veteran mode, because then you know what you're doing, and that actually, and maybe even the journey changes, right? Because if the game is harder, then the Pokemon you run into from the, you know, players you go against will be different. It won't be the same thing that you ran into last time around. It would actually be a changed journey. So that actually is very, very intriguing. So the obligatory hours of tutorials play out. There's even more now. That actually would be sad. So I think that would be one of the reasons for me to skip that. But then again, I might want to just see how it looks like, because just for the sake of seeing how it looks like, I would probably play through that mode just to see how the tutorials play out versus previous Pokemon games. But I think personally, if I was not like streaming it or being a content creator, I would definitely skip it. I hated Sun and Moon's slow pacing and all that shit, and I wish I would have skipped all that introductory stuff. So yeah, it's a little bit iffy. Now, so you got the obligatory hours of tutorials play out, and there's even more now, with the game holding your hand through your first trainer battle. HM obstacle, different items, and gimmick demonstrations. That's, I don't know. Now, practically a detour in every new area. Oh, that's sad. Actually, yeah, that makes me want to not go through the beginner mode. If everything is going to be a detour in new areas, be a little bit sad. Only Pokemon in the regional decks are available. All right, NPCs just exposit about exposit. Okay, I guess they. Fair enough. Okay, I got you. I was a bit confused about the wording. I was like, that's a little bit odd, isn't it? It's a little bit strange. In it, fam. It's a little bit odd, but I guess it makes sense. I guess. Also, I should probably lower the music, guys. I'm sorry. I had the music up too loud. I just realized that. Let's go back to the actual text here, though. So, they give you exposition, I guess, about different items or moves when talked to. Story makes it to a point of how you're a new trainer, which sections where a side character comes with you for safety. Railroads you through the intended path in the dungeons. So, if you go with the beginner mode, it will basically, like, steamroll through all the stuff that, you know, you would want to do in your journey, but rather skip it for you. Which I guess I could see in how you know, if you want to play through the game quickly, that would be a good way to go about it. But at the same time, also wouldn't it make it a bit slow, because all the other obstacles that come your way would be a little bit, you know, distracting. But oh well. Now let's see. So most trainers have 3 Pokemon at best. No held items. Movesets just being autofill learn sets. Only champion has 6 mons, and they can cap out at around level 50. Beating the game gives you the possibility of turning on veteran mode. Alright, so you have to play... Oh, so you have to play through the game with the beginner mode. I see. So veteran mode, for those who have played the series and want more in-depth experience. Alright, EXP has classic and advanced variants that act like Gen 1 and Gen 2 to 5 experience, EXP shares. Tutorials are practically gone, with a key item like Techie TV being handed out in their place. You're out on the field within 5 minutes. Recurring NPCs are still present in your journey, but outside of story, cutscenes, or battles, will only talk to you when talked to first. And both said cutscenes and dialogue can now be fast-forwarded through by holding A button. The A button, alright. I don't have my Switch here, man. My brother always keeps taking it. Alternative encounters, methods, expand team options. NPCs teams reflect this. Alright, that's good. NPC dialogue becomes more about life and lore in Galar than choice band sure is neat. Alright, fair enough. Story sections leave you alone since your experience and handle yourself, where dialogue changes to match. Dungeons are open. Sounds good. Trainers have varied teams, balancing between levels and amount of Pokemon held, and battle items start being used halfway through. Level curve caps out at around 75. Alright, and next page, which I think is the final one. Bonus, an NPC will talk to you about wanting to travel to other regions. In veteran mode, you get the option of telling them which region you've been to, which will cause a delivery man to spawn in the Pokemon in the center with a letter from your mother mentioning how she's found some of your old clothes while doing chores. This unlocks outfits resembling the previous player characters. Wow, that actually sounds awesome. Okay, listen, I've got to be frank with you guys. This is probably my favorite rumor, dude. This is such a clean rumor, dude. I don't even know what to say, man. This is such a clean rumor. I love it. This is actually such a clean rumor because it literally brings up such a important thing that I've wanted for a long time, the difficulty modes, right? It's one of the things that I've wished for the longest time, but they just don't do it. They just don't go through and make it. And this would be perfect if they did it in one way or another. I mean, of course, I get a little bit worried when I hear stuff like, you know, there's going to be hours and hours upon, you know, just tutorials and stuff like that, and oh, some of the trainers will be a little bit weak and, you know, a bit too hand-holdy, but then if you play the weather mode, all that will be gone essentially. And the fact, I mean, if I can wear, like, you know, like, oh man, if you can have like Ethan's outfit and like Brandon's outfit, like, dude, if I could have their outfits in this game, that would be so sick, dude. Like, that would be so sick, dude. Imagine like the last trainer, not the last trainer, but like the female trainer here that you play as in the Galar region, the female character, but in like May's outfit or something, you know what I mean? Like, that would be so cool, dude. Like, you just like be like, ah, dude, like, I'm playing, dude, look at this shit, man, look at this shit, dude. That would be so sick, man. Actually, would be so freaking sick. And the level curve being at around 75 makes sense. But yeah, dude, I don't know, man. Like, this is definitely one of my favorite rumors. I'm gonna be honest, dude. I've been wanting a difficulty like spike in a long time now. I'm a little bit disappointed that if this is true, that they still will make it a little bit like, you know, iffy in the start there with the beginner mode, still making it too easy. But I don't know, man. I think for a first-time playthrough, I kind of get it. But at the same time, they did say this game is aiming for the more, you know, well-versed Pokemon, you know, fans, which, you know, we kind of want the veteran mode as an option from the beginning, I'd say. But, you know, it is what it is, though, and I guess I will most likely, if there is no option to choose between beginner and veteran at the start, and you have to play with, you know, or if there is an option, I probably will choose beginner just to play through the game initially, just see the world and that sort of stuff in a slow pace and not like, you know, thinking too much, just kind of like, you know, looking around, exploring, you know, having a chill time, while on my second playthrough, I'll definitely play through the veteran mode and be a little bit more like, you know, let's build an actual proper team and, you know, that sort of stuff. But if I had an option, I probably would go, if I was playing this on my own, probably would go for the veteran mode, as I do think that Pokemon, it can be a little bit stale when you just keep pressing the same button just to spam through teams and hordes of, like, you know, certain Pokemon. So, that's the general gist of it, though, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think there's really much else I'm going to say. Genuinely, though, this is one of my favorite rumors. I love it. So let me know in the comment section down below. What do you guys think about this one? What are your thoughts? What are your opinions? And thank you so much for watching. My name is RuffledRowlit. Have yourselves a great day, and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.